Listen, me biting off more than I can chew, that's a thing. Happens all the time. I want to share with you my crochet projects that I'm working on over the summer. And actually, I'm on vacation this next week, so I have quite a few projects planned for this whole next week, and I am going to be crazy busy with crochet. But first of all, let's take a look at what I have been up to lately. Let's start with, so I still need to tie in the ends, but I have been making dishcloths. I have been making lots of dishcloths because, believe it or not, in the summertime when it's hot and I don't want big items on top of me, that's when I up my dishcloth game and make a whole bunch of dishcloths so that I have dishcloths ready to give as gifts later. Because later I'll be back on my big, huge blanket projects and I won't want to stop to make dishcloths. Maybe. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. So I'm trying to focus on some of the smaller things over the summer that are quick and easy to make. And dishcloths, those are one of those things. Another thing that I'm trying to do is work through some of my scraps. And what I mean by that is the leftover stuff from some of the blanket projects or some of the bigger projects. And I have a lot of scraps, both in wool and cotton. So with the wool, the leftovers from the blanket that I made, I am working on making, yes, I still have ends. I have ends to tie in like you would not believe on literally everything. So I'm working on making some granny squares. If I have enough of them, I could make maybe a purse or a bag or something with them. I'll figure it out once I get all the scraps turned into these granny squares. Then I will decide what project I'm going to make with them. Granny squares are always useful and can be turned into like really cool stuff. So that's why I tend to start just making granny squares with my scraps. Another project that I'm working on is making just these little granny squares. This is the yarn that I'm using. It comes from the Woolly Thistle. It's a Portuguese wool. I have it in two different colors here. So I'm actually going to be making two different. I'm going to have the solid blue and then I've got the variegated. So I'm just making a whole bunch of these little granny squares because I'm going to either make a t-shirt or a tank top with these. Could turn out to be another little sweater. And once again, I have a bunch that don't have the ends tied in. Seeing a theme here? I really need to just take a day and stop and tie in ends. I should probably do that today. Maybe. Abby is dropping by and dropping off a couple of amigurumi pattern books today. I have a meeting with a friend later in the week and she has two adorable little girls. And so I wanted to, as part of the projects I have planned for my vacation this week, I really wanted to stop and also make a couple of little amigurumi animals before this meeting with my friend. But yeah, I've got a whole pile of these little granny squares. I told you I like granny squares. I know there's people who don't like granny squares, but I think granny squares are pretty darn great. And I'm just gonna keep making these. And that's in my one project basket that I have sitting here. Like I said, the other is the granny squares with the wool from the blanket. I do have scraps that I have been turning into dishcloths also because I have so many different dishcloth patterns that I can make a lot of fun dishcloths. Now, there's a project I started before it got hot that I am still working on. This wrap, this V-stitch wrap. I am making it with fisherman's wool, and I'm not working on it on hot days because, like I said, I don't like to have something heavy, hot, and wool on top of me while I am overheated in the summer. Another project for this week. I have a friend whose aunt made her a wrap, and I need to fix it. She didn't tie in her ends with enough length, so things are coming apart. And also she didn't make the wrap long enough. I could not find the exact yarn, so I got something that's maybe, I mean, it's not, clearly it doesn't match, but I'm gonna be adding on to this shawl with this yarn here, and I have to reattach the pockets on this wrap or shawl or whatever. And I have to have that done before I return back to work from my vacation. So another project I am tackling while I'm on vacation this week is fixing this shawl. So I will have a day that I fix this shawl. I will have a day that I make an amigurumi animal, another day I make an amigurumi animal, and then I'll probably make some more granny squares another day. I have gifts I need to make for a couple of my male coworkers when I return. So I'm gonna have a day that I legitimately just work on some coasters or something else simple, a little gifty item for the guys. So I have a lot of projects, and I will definitely be sharing clips that are like little shorts showing the things that I'm working on all this week. Just like I have shared some shorts from some of my raised bed planters with some of the produce that is starting to come ready. I'm super excited about my green onions. My green onions are doing great, and I have made some dips for the guys using those green onions in the last couple of days. So making progress with the garden and making progress with the crochet. I am a busy bee. That is all the projects I have. I do have a blanket that I started that I will not touch all summer, so I'm not even going to show that. I'll do a video like later when I pick it up when it cools down. But for the summer, I don't work on blankets. For the summer, I try to do like the smaller gifty items like dishcloths. So for today, I'm going to start tying in ends on all of these dishcloths. And then I'm going to tie in ends on my granny squares. And then whenever my daughter shows up with the amigurumi book, then I will start an amigurumi. And one of the little girls really likes giraffes. So I asked Abby to drop off the Zumagurumi book that has the giraffe on the cover. So she is going to drop off that. I've made one of those giraffes before. So now I'm going to make a second one, and it's super adorable. So I'll share some videos of that too. I just plan on working a lot on crochet this next week, and then sharing videos of the projects that I am working on crochet with this week. Make sense? Maybe. Sometimes it comes out my mouth not making sense. Anyway, thank you for tuning in and watching my little summer crochet update on what I am working on, and stay tuned because I have a lot of projects planned this week. So I will be sharing videos all week on the projects that I am working on. Have a happy week.